This is one half of what you get with the CJ Pony Parts Deluxe Pony Interior door panel kit. So here's the cup handle. There's two of those. This is the bracket for the cup handle. Notice when you put on the included little screw holder, it's not big enough to hit the slot. But I found that when you put the screw in there, it still grabs. If I have a problem later, I'll just have to drill out another hole. It's just hard to locate where it is now until you get the door all put together. There's the little screw kit. Doorknobs, cup kinds of screws, clips, screws, pistol grip, that's the door handle. This is the original, just for comparison. It's an original part actually. New window crank, repo, this is the original. Similar. And you also need this escutcheon, I believe they call it. It's got a longer shaft than the factory because this handle is different. So if you don't have that longer shaft, you won't be able to tighten down that screw all the way on there. And the door panel, very nice door panel, nice vinyl, padded, pretty nice. And of course, the stainless trim. Here's a shot of the driver's side original, just a standard panel put in place. Pretty boring actually. So let's go look at the other side. And here's the passenger side already done. It's got 2 rows of stainless steel trim rings on there, handle, cranker, puller thingy. Much nicer looking. So the first step is to cut out this pocket here so that you can get the pocket insert in there. So you could just cut all the way around here with your knife and then it slides in there, but I elected to clear some of that foam. There's about a 3/8 inch foam all the way around the inside of that. So I cleaned that off the back, and you just peel that off there. That way, when it's in there, I have a nice lip of vinyl going all the way around. Less chance of it pulling out. If you shove it in there with all that foam in there, it puts a lot of pressure on the outside of this. So I'm worried it would eventually start to crack here. That's what it always does, crack there. And here's the back side of it. You can see all that, all the foam that's in there. You got to take out. So if you're really careful, you can pry that vinyl off of there. I don't know if you can see it or not. But, so then just trim that out all the way around so the cup fits in there nice. So here's one of the pieces of foam I cut out of the back there. You can see how thick it is. And it's pretty firm stuff, so you don't want to leave that in there. And the cup goes in there like that. It's got a high side that goes on the back side. So when you're resting your arm on there, you don't feel that lip. And that's about where it's going to go. I'm not going to leave it in there when I do the install because I want to be able to see the bracket in there as I'm putting the door in. But that's how it's going to look when you're done. So, all right, I slid the outer trim piece on there. Just want to make sure it's seated all the way tight against this end, and then it looks pretty good the rest of the way. This is actually one of the hardest parts of the whole job, besides actually putting the door on itself, on the panel on the door itself. That is a nightmare, but this has to be fitted just right. So it sits on there pretty snug, and if you look on the back side, you see it's got some holes in here, 4 holes for some screws, and those screws are not included. So what I did was I took, yeah, it's pretty small. I took the shortest, I think these are number 4 stainless screws, and I snipped the end off. So they're pretty darn short, maybe 3/16 of an inch or so. Yeah, a little more than 1/8 of an inch. But you don't want it to poke through the other side of the board. Honestly, if it did, it would still be hidden behind the, you know, the front side of the trim. But I don't want to poke any holes in this, in the fabric on the other side, the vinyl. So what I got to do is drill these holes out and then put these little screws in there, and that keeps the trim on there nice and tight. So what I do is hold it down tight from this side, and then I mark it with a marker on the back side so I get it in the right spot. I'm also going to add a couple more on this end. I'm going to add 2 more because I noticed on this side, if you look, this one fits pretty good, but the other side, this was sitting up, but you can push it down with your hand. So I would push it down, mark it, and I'm going to put a hole right there. So I have six total screws holding this on. When you're taking this trim on and off the panel, slide it down the end a little bit and gently pry these apart before you try taking it off. Because if you just try spreading this far enough to get it on and off, you're gonna tweak it really bad. So I also drew a line right here so I can tell when it's down sitting flush. I gotta pull it off now and drill these out. I'm gonna drill the other ones out slightly bigger because my screw won't go in there without forcing it through. I've got the holes marked here, and this is one of the extra holes that I added in. So they only come with 2 holes pre-drilled. So this is the 3rd I added, and then directly on the other side you can see why I added another one, because this is not quite tight. So when I drill that and put that screw in there, it'll keep that looking nice on the outside. I'm not going to drill it with this trim in place because I don't want to drill through the vinyl on the other side. So I'm just going to start the hole, take the trim back off, and then I'm going to drill very carefully through it and try to get through the wood, this masonite, but not punch through the vinyl. You can actually feel it or see it as you're drilling if you drill really slow, because it'll start pushing the back side out, you know, before it comes through. But that's up to you. Just be careful. Now here you can see what I was talking about. You can see how that's bulged out. So the drill bit's through the wood, but not through the vinyl. So pull that out of there. So an easy trick getting this thing into position, I found, I'm even doing this one-handed here, is to put it on part way and then just let the weight of it slide it down in position. So you can see it doesn't take much. You just wiggle the sides, and I'm just letting it slide down in position. And then once I hit my mark down there, I know I'm good. And then just put it on the side. So be very careful tightening these screws down, because you know, it's not going through a lot of wood, you can see, or cardboard or masonite, whatever it is. So the screw doesn't really have to hold it down this way, because that's the way that molding's made, but it needs to keep it from sliding, you know, outside this way. So just be very gentle in there, and you can just, once you feel it start to snug up, just stop. That's good. Now I'm worried that they stick up enough that it might keep the panel from sitting flush against the door with the clips, and the other one seemed to be on okay. If it pops off, I might just take it back off and just file this down, so it's, it'll let the panel squeeze up a little tighter to the door. But so far, no problem. You can see how nice it fits from the front, nice and even all the way around. So definitely need these screws on there. Now I gotta move to this inner trim. This one's kind of a pain. Next thing to go on is the inner stainless trim. It comes with all these little, this is the back side, all these little metal tabs on there. There's a few hundred of these things you gotta bend up. So just bend them up perpendicular on the back side, and then we'll put them in the holes on the other side. And after you get all the tabs bent straight, flip it over. Be careful, because you don't want to drag this around on your shiny new door panel, because it'll scratch it. So, and then just start at one end, just very gently work your way in there, lining those up and pushing them through. And then once you got the trim in place, push from the front side with your fingers. So as you know, it's tight on the back side, nice and flush. And then just bend these right over. They're easy to do with your hand. Well, I'm taking off the old door panel here. I'm trying to be very careful. First, not to break anything or scratch it, but I also don't want to move these clips around because I want to try to line this panel up, the back of this panel, with the new panel so I can get the clips in close to the right position. Makes it a lot easier getting the new one on. That's where people struggle the most. As you can see, my water shield's still in pretty good shape. So I just replaced this not that long ago. So I peeled it back and then added my two little clips down here. That's for the pull handle goes there. And then I removed these clips that were holding the old door handle on, just because I didn't want them rattling around in there. Pop those out. And then I got to replace the door handle shaft. I've already replaced it, I guess, because it got kind of worn out. So, but the new one is longer, because that's what she wants. Okay, now before we go any farther, I'm going to check to make sure that I have this installed correctly and I can open the door. Okay, I was real careful taking the old panel out, so I didn't try not to move the clips, so I can mark them with a little pencil mark roughly where they are. And then you can tell which direction the clip needs to go, so they're not always to the one side. This one goes that side, that goes that side. Also notice each one of these clips, it's about 1/2 inch to 3/4 from the edge. Obviously these holes are much farther, so they have to angle like that one right there. So before I cut any of these slots bigger, I'm just going to put all the clips in where I think they're going to be and give it a shot. Also, one of these needs to be cleaned out right here. So just full of foam and just cut it out. Okay, it looks like I got the bottom clips started all the way across. I know it's not in focus very well, but anyway, the bottom ones are all positioned in the hole. And then if we look at the top ones, they look like they're all going to line up pretty well. So, not too bad if you just prep ahead. Okay, everything seemed to pop into place pretty well. I didn't have to move any of those holes. The big thing is getting the clips facing the right direction in those slots before you even try to put it on. So I'm pretty sure that's where everybody else struggles. Anyway, I was going to try to pop the bottom in first, so then you can look down the top and see. But when I tried doing that, the top just kept falling out. You know, the clips wouldn't still be positioned in place. So I ended up just popping the top in, and then I just used this little handheld mirror. I could stick underneath there and look and see where the clips were, and then a little needle nose, I could move them around to position right in the hole. Also, I don't know if you can see it or not, but this, about that. There we go. The door cup bracket is sitting kind of low on this side. There's a gap there. I mean, you can't really see it. Anyway, there's a gap between the masonite and the bracket itself. I could pull that off and re-drill the hole so it comes up. The problem is the cup is going to want to sit down way too far, and I don't want it dropping below this lip here because I want it to give some support, you know. I don't want this tearing out. So I might just end up for now just putting a couple washers under there, some big like fender washers so that it supports it, and then see how that goes. Here, hopefully you can see that, but I taped a couple washers to the back side of the cup. That way the washers don't fall out inside the door panel and rattle around. So You can see it's super pretty. So it's pretty flush now. So next time I take the door panel off, I'll drill another set of holes in that bracket to raise it up. So for now it's good enough. Okay, the kit comes with some new screws. I like to line up the handles so that when the window's down, which is pretty much all the time here in Florida, that the window crank is parallel. That's about as close as you can get it. And then also cover up the little screws in the bottom of the cup. Don't forget your little insert there. Nice. The kit also comes with the little plastic washer you need behind there. Keep it from rubbing. And I think there's an escutcheon kit that you can get behind this. Clean it up a little bit because it just looks a little kind of weird. Anyway, that's what it looks like. I need to clean this thing off because it's got greasy fingerprints all over it. Alright, so here's after the complete install. The finish on there, it's a pretty matte finish compared to, like, you know, my seats. So put a little bit of shine stuff on there. It's some McGuire's natural shine. So I think it looks pretty good. It matches a lot better than the matte finish. Plus it should protect the vinyl more. So let me know what you think. Oh, one more thing I forgot to do was put the grommets on there for the door locks. Let me show you what it looks like. So here's the one I had on there before. It's a cheap little plastic thing. Looked nice and shiny to go along with that, but it didn't stay in there. And you can see this is even this was brand new, but this is kind of worn, just rattling around in the hole. So it wasn't doing anything. Here's the new one. These are, they feel like they're stainless or something, or just some kind of metal. This one actually looks shinier than the other one. Anyway, it's got little tabs on there, and I guess you're supposed to put it in the hole and then bend these over, which means you have to have the door apart to do that. But I have a little pick tool here that some nice mechanic left in my car one day, and even with the little push rod sticking up in there, you're able to reach in there, and then you can kind of feel these things and bend them back. It doesn't need much, they just be bent back a little bit. So if you orientate them like 12, 6, 3, and 9, then you know where you're supposed to be pushing in there, going in there, and then bend it over, bend it over. There you go.